Hey, Calvary family. Hey, great to be with you. Congratulations, everyone. You made it. Here we are at the end of a 40-day fast. This is awesome. We're having a gathering tonight at 7 just to worship and pray, to end the fast together in some corporate worship. I'm sorry that this video is coming out so late. I meant to get it out earlier today, but time got away from me. But if you can make it out tonight for that, that would be amazing. If not, I will see you Sunday, and we're going to really wrap up the whole 4 for 40 fast. Look, we know God is doing work among us. I mean, God doesn't call us to do a 40-day fast for nothing. He's preparing us. He's individually has a work that he's doing in us, and I hope that you've got to experience some of that. But also there is a church-wide one too, because he's called us to be part of a body, right? He's called us to be part of a community of followers of Jesus that are just seeking him, that are pressing into him. Like, that's Jesus's design. So like, we can have an individual experience and expression of worship, and we should. That's good and right, and we connect with God through Jesus Christ, and that's absolutely important. But equally as important, actually vital, is the need that we would be joined together with other believers, because there is a fuller, more complete expression of worship that happens together that can't happen individually. Like, Jesus created the corporate times to be a place where he uniquely works among us and through us. And so, if you could come out of the fast and be out tonight, that's awesome. We just want to seek him, and we want to expect him to meet with us. So we come in faith, right? He told us he desires to meet with us. But talking about the fast, just to back up a little bit about the fast here, I know for many, this has been a completely new experience in just seeking after God. And that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I really believe our expressions of worship need to vary, and our pursuits of him have to be mixed up from time to time, or we just fall into these dead religious patterns that aren't any longer like we're not seeking to connect with God. They're not really heart-driven worship. They're not life-giving. And a long fast helps to break up that ground of religiosity, because it creeps in. It definitely can creep in. But we have these 4 practices that we've been doing in the fast. And those 4 practices really, if they're not part of the regular rhythms of your life, you really might want to incorporate them. So the 4 practices are worship, reading the Bible, reading the Word of God, prayer, and then fasting. And fasting is one of those things where, if you can incorporate it in a rhythm of your life, I think that you will see a lot of benefits. And, we do these practices not because we feel like God is requiring them, or God's going to get mad or upset with us, like if we don't do them, God's going to, if we approach him, without these things, like he's going to, oh, well, you have a need now, and that's why you come to me, or you have big problems, that's why you're seeking me, but you don't seek me other times. No, God desires that we come to him. God created us. He knows what makes us tick. We've been created to walk not apart from him, but to walk with him. Like, we have this innate longing within us to walk with God, and not only just to walk with him, but to really have his running commentary on life. I mean, that's just his design. And when we stay away from him or don't feel like we have time for him, there's no anger there from his part, but rather it's like there's like pity. It's like having a child or a person, whatever, that you want to bless, but they just can't get out of their way. You ever been there? Maybe it's been you, right? Or you get upset, you pity them because they're getting so ripped off. Like I don't know if this ever happened to you when you go on vacation and you just like have this horrible bad funk you go into, or you're just in a bad mood, and you say to yourself, like, if I don't snap out of this, I am going to just rip myself off. Well, such it is with God. Like, God is blessing. He does not call me to walk in his ways to make him more complete. He is, right? It's me that finds definition in him. And so these four practices, yes, they are worship, but they don't give God definition or make him more complete, not in the least bit. He doesn't need my worship. But what I find is that in these practices, like, I need him. I need to worship. I need to put these things into practice. I need to, not because God's going to get upset or be disappointed with me. Like, his love remains the same. I mean, like I can live a busy and hurried life and feel like I don't have time to express these modes of worship to him. And I can live that way. It doesn't make God any less, but it sure doesn't make me less. And I think we've found that going through these 40 days. Like, these practices of worship, these four practices, they're expressions of just surrender. They're expressions of love and devotion. They're expressions of need and desire. And sometimes, as you'll find, like, you don't have feelings that go along with these expressions, these spiritual disciplines. And sometimes you'll find even there's lengths or periods of time where there's no feelings that go along with them. That's especially when they become worship to God. See, it's doing them to God with no perceived return, no, like, what's in it for me? Like, I didn't even get the tingles or whatever. It takes on the nature of sacrifice and expressing unconditional love to God. Look, we know about this in other arenas of life. Like, if you have children, like, you want them to do well. You want them to choose to do good and make right decisions, even if it's the hard thing to do, right? Even if doing what's right has consequences. So we do what's right anyway. And it could be that way with these four practices. Sometimes you won't feel anything. Like, well, so what? We'll do the hard thing anyway. Sometimes I just don't have the time, and so take time from other things, like bear the consequences. Like, we teach our kids such things. And so as we're getting ready to conclude the fast, my encouragement to you is to keep up these four practices, including fasting. Like, schedule times of denial of self, especially in the form of food. If you can do that medically, take a day, like once a week or once every couple of weeks, and let it become a part of the rhythm of your life, part of your spiritual expression. Maybe you looked at some things that you stopped doing during this fast, and you need to drop them completely. Because, like, they weren't making you more of a godly person. In fact, they were doing the exact opposite, and they were keeping you from the pursuit of holiness. And so drop certain things. Maybe during the fast you found like you had more stillness of mind and heart than you've ever experienced before. Like, it's not worth adding noise back in. So prayerfully figure it out. And then just lastly about the whole fast, as we're just ending this, or coming out of it, pray for boldness. We're not called to keep this message of liberation to ourselves. All around us, whether they admit it or not, sin makes people a slave to sin. And there is a whole lot of captivity and slavery all around us. Look, you and I have experienced this message of liberation. We've experienced the way out of slavery through Jesus Christ and his sacrifice. Ask for boldness to share this with others. Ask for opportunity. Like the Psalm said, men, like we read today, right? Men shall speak of the might of your awesome acts, and I will declare your greatness. They shall utter the memory of your great goodness and shall sing of your righteousness. Hey, declare some of the mighty acts of God. Ask for boldness. He promised he would give it. Acts chapter 1. We read that actually in our reading today. So ask for the fullness of God in your life. I'll see you tonight. If not tonight, Sunday. And we're going to wrap up this whole 4 for 40. God bless you all.